This is part of my fascination with the composers and their lives, discovering all of the truly incredible things they went through and how it must have affected the music. I don't really think that an artist can just leave the circumstances of their life behind them whenever they go to perform or compose. Smetana, who is really known as being the most famous Czech composer, wrote a letter to his friend in 1879 that stated he feared he was going mad, and he had good reason to be afraid. At the age of 38, he heard voices coming from a train whistle. By the time he wrote the letter, he was depressed, he had insomnia, and hallucinations. After becoming incoherent and violent, he entered a mental hospital at the age of 59, which back then people called a lunatic asylum. A few years before that, it was Anton Bruckner who was struggling with depression. In 1865, he had been betrayed by a critic, and he had also been turned down by a number of young girls that he was trying to pursue. In addition to depression, Bruckner had anxiety, extreme mood swings, and an obsession with counting things. At the height of his illness, he spent the summer in a mental institution. Austrian composer Hugo Wolf's composing was interrupted by mental deterioration, depression, and attempted suicide. He would spend 5 years in a mental institution. Antonio Salieri's mental illness is well known, and his breakdown coincides with the final years of Mozart's life. There are rumors that Salieri admitted to killing Mozart, and that it was this confession that got him in a mental institution. However, Salieri's nurses heard nothing of the confession. We'll never know for sure. However, Salieri did attempt to take his own life, and he did end up in an institution. Donizetti was another composer who ended up spending time in an institution. He was held there against his will for a total of 1.5 years after severe headaches and depression. Probably the most well-known case of a composer's mental illness is that of Robert Schumann. Schumann suffered from irrational fears, melancholy, anxiety, and the hallucinations in which he would begin to see angels that turned into demons. After this, he left the house in his nightgown, jumped off of a bridge, and landed in the Rhine River. After he was rescued by fishermen, he asked to be taken to an institution. For me, it's sad to know that conditions at these institutions were so poor, hospitals were overcrowded and underfunded. So very little was known about mental illness at the time. Of course, there's still so much we don't know. Nevertheless, there seems to be this connection between artists and mental illness, though nothing on the topic has been proven. Hopefully one day we'll have more answers than we do now.